Time for a new Martech Minute. In this segment, we've got Michael Brown. He's the CEO of nDash. They're a content creation platform. And if you're a marketer looking to fuel your content marketing programs, or a writer who has specific subject matter expertise and you're looking to sign new clients, you're going to want to check them out. Okay, thanks very much for joining us on the Martech Minute. This is Colin White from Martechers, and today I'm joined by Michael Brown. He is the founder and CEO of nDash. They're a content creation platform provider. Hi, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Colin. How's it going?
It's going well, thanks. So, content creation platform. I've been in marketing for a long time. We all know in marketing, especially in B2B and high-tech marketing, content marketing is critical to any successful marketing or demand gen program. What's different about nDash, and how did you come to found the company?
Sure. So the real difference with nDash is that, content these days is less about, just putting content out there at a consistent volume. It's really about the content itself, the subject matter. So we built a platform that was really, it does have a community of writers, so it is the crowdsourcing model, but it's really based around core expertise. So in other words, it's not about just finding a writer to produce content for you. It's about finding a writer that knows your particular space, audience, and industry inside and out.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you enable that? I mean, other platforms I've used, and I can mention a few, but I'm sure you're familiar with them. They all seem to let writers, provide samples or talk in their profiles about what they're good at writing about. Mm-hmm. How do you guys really focus in on that subject matter expertise? Because that's definitely of interest to me. I work with a lot of clients who are in different industries, and we're constantly looking for writers that have that subject matter expertise.
So the first one is that we don't want to limit the number of people that can enter the community. So with a lot of these other platforms, we've found that there are baseline writing tests, sort of like an exhaustive sort of vetting process. And what that ends up doing is it ends up taking those writers with 10, 15, 20 years of experience, and it dissuades them from joining that platform. So in other words, if you're a writer with 15 years of experience in B2B tech, you're not going to jump through those hoops only to get assignments where they cap your earnings or they start you off as like a 1 or 2 star writer. So we wanted to attract that top talent, make it as easy as possible for them to join our community, but then really sort of showcase who they are, what they've done, and really leverage their own personal brands. So another thing that makes nDash different is the openness and transparency of the community. So typically with other platforms, they're going to try to hide the identity of the writer or hide the identity of the customer because they're worried about people going outside the system. Our platform is completely the opposite. We actually will ban users that try to put up an anonymous profile. So just to kind of give you an example, we have a former CMO of a cybersecurity company as part of our platform. So when brands in that space are logging in, they're seeing like the caliber of writer, they're seeing their complete background information, LinkedIn bios, all of that stuff. You wouldn't typically see that on another platform. I think the other thing to kind of point out is that this is a almost like an idea-driven platform. So in other words, just as the writers are visible to brands, the brands are visible to writers. So the way that it works typically is that most of the work in the platform is not the result of a brand saying, here's what I need, somebody come in and write this piece of content for me. It's just the opposite. It's writers from our community looking at the brands and suggesting and pitching topics for them to consider. So we're effectively taking these marketers and making them, putting them in the role of, I guess you would say, like managing editor of a publication. So the brands that are on the nDash platform are constantly getting, pitched content ideas. And there's a lot you can tell about, writers, knowledge, about their style of writing, about the value they can provide based on those ideas that they're sending you.
So that was something I definitely noticed as well in terms of how it's different for writers, that whole pitch concept. Where did you come up with that idea? Is that based on some of your experience as a writer? I believe I saw that you were actually a content writer before you founded the company.
Yeah, so when I first broke out on my own, I was a solo freelance writer. and didn't have much luck with the typical, cold call, cold email type of sales approach. So what I did instead, I went out and I found 10 to 15 companies where I knew that space really well. So it was typically around, SaaS platforms or security, software development, subjects like that. And I actually pitched them unique content ideas. So I would put together 5 or 6, titles, abstracts, and summaries, send them to those brands and say, hey, if any of these are of interest to you, give me a call and we can get started. So that business development tactic ultimately, led to the formation of an agency, which ultimately led to the formation of the platform. So now I'm trying to, educate writers on this approach, giving, other writers that same opportunity, but giving brands that same experience as well.
Right. And I noticed that you you seem to be active in marketing the nDash platform to agencies as well. So what's in it for agencies?
Yeah, so agencies face face this problem times 1,000. Their clients are very demanding in terms of the quality of the content. So for an agency, it's very hard to hire one writer that can meet the demands of all of your clients. And we experienced this problem when we were an agency as well. We would have a cloud, a cloud client, a security client, and like an IoT client. And early on, I thought we could have one writer that could cover all of those spaces, and it turns out we couldn't. So,
right.
It's a staffing problem for agencies to be able to, one, have writers that have bandwidth for all of these clients, but two, have expertise on a client by client basis.
So tell me a little bit about your future plans. Do you have, right now you're focusing on content creation. Do you have any plans to expand into, design services or video production or other types of content creation?
Not at this time. We're really trying to, stick to the written content aspect right now. And that's, mostly because, right now we're a bootstrap startup, so we want to make sure we're focused on the one thing we do well.
Right.
But we also want to, preserve our partnerships with some of these other agencies. And if we start, offering, too many of these services, there might be a little bit of, overlap or, I guess, partner channel conflict, which we'd kind of like to avoid at this time. So for the time being, we're sticking in the, the written content space.
Right. Totally makes sense. So what's the best way for either a marketer or an agency or a writer to get started with using the nDash platform?
Yeah, so for brands and agencies, it's it's completely free to create an account. You fill out a profile. You can actually put out a call for submission. So once you sign up and complete a basic profile, you can put we call it like an idea request out there, where you kind of give writers a sense of the types of topics that you're looking for. You kind of see what comes in, and then it is a purely on-demand play for them. For writers, I think it's important, again, to make sure that, you're putting your best foot forward in terms of, highlighting your background and expertise and making sure your rates, and this is going to sound weird, but that your rates aren't too low.
Too low. Interesting.
Too low. So in addition, so the other big difference with our platform is that it's not a bidding platform. So there's no sort of race to the bottom in terms of price. Brands are actually hesitant to work with a writer if their prices are too low. They're really looking for, quality, somebody that's going to, devote the time and energy it takes to turn around a great piece of content.
Right. And that's something I've definitely noticed in my experience is some of the platforms that I've worked with, you put out a request for proposals and some will come in at, $10 a post, and some will come in at 100, and every range in between. And it's easy to just go out and buy the cheapest work, but you tend to get what you pay for. So
yeah, and we wanted this to really sort of attract and reward the best writers, and that's another way that we did it, which was by saying, all right, you're setting your rate. So it is true market-based pricing. Again, if you're a writer with 15 or 20 years of experience and you command $1 a word, those opportunities are available to you in our platform.
Okay, Mike, I appreciate your time today. This is Michael Brown. He's the founder and CEO of nDash, their content creation platform, and their website is www.ndash.co, and I encourage you to visit them if you have some content creation needs for your organization. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Colin.